What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another video. As promised in my video yesterday, I did also get a few other items back from Collector Archive Services, namely the Retro Collection Mandalorian Wave 1. And I don't know what possessed me to get those graded. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's so overkill. I'd love to know from you guys. Do any of you have the retro collection figures? And are any of you crazy enough to actually get them graded? And so I got them collector grade from Big Bad Toy Store back last spring. I sent them in June or so. And, they just got back and, they're nice and everything, but I just think it was such overkill. What am I doing? I don't know why I got them. So I do have a few others in my collection that I'm going to show you real quickly first. This is the board game pack-in, the Escape from the Death Star Grand Moff Tarkin. Of any of the ones that I have, this is probably the coolest one because Grand Moff Tarkin should have been in the vintage Kenner line. There's no doubt about that. He should have been a first 21 figure. And the face likeness isn't great, but whatever, it's fine for, a retro kind of figure. It's nice. I think it's pretty cool. He's got his weapon there packed into his hand, and the card back's great. So, and this one's graded 95. This is the highest graded one of all my collection. 90, 95, 95. This is the Escape from the Death Star Retro Collection exclusive Tarkin. So that was really cool. And then this one was another pack-in. This was such a cash grab by Hasbro. This was, all they really did was they took a retro collection Stormtrooper, added some dust and dirt to him, put him on a new card back, and then they forced you to buy it by packing him into a Mandalorian board game that was only available online on Disney.com, I believe. And so here it is, the online exclusive Mandalorian Remnant Stormtrooper, this graded 90. And I do like the card back. People hate these stickers. I hate them too. I'm not a big fan of the stickers. The stickers don't bother me as much as the backs of the cards, though. The backs of the cards are so boring on the retro collection. And my only piece of advice to Hasbro is for the next wave. We got a wave 2 coming out later this year for the Mandalorian with like Ahsoka and a few other cool figures. My only advice is just make the backs of the cards so much cooler. I think, if you just took a little effort and maybe, like TVC 1.0, where they showed like a 12-back Stormtrooper here, or maybe even like a vintage collection version of the Remnant Stormtrooper. I think it would be really cool instead of just a bunch of words that nobody cares about. So anyway, this one was a pack-in. I didn't buy it packed in. I bought this on eBay separately, but, it still wasn't cheap, obviously, given that these were pack-ins. And then the other one I've got is the Mist card, Greef Kargalorian, or Meef Kargalorian, for Mando and Greef Karga together. Meef Kargalorian is better to me only because I use the word meef all the time, M-E-E-F. My wife loves to feed my kids Taco Bell because my kids love Taco Bell for some reason. And I said to my wife, that's not meat that they're serving you. That's some kind of synthetic protein that they created in a lab called meef. I made up the name myself. It's like a spongy texture and it's disgusting. And so when I think of Greef Karga, I think of Meef Kargalorian because the Taco Bell is disgusting. Don't eat there. I remember I was in high school one time and I ate Taco Bell and I got E. coli poisoning. I was in the hospital for 4 days. I lost like 15 pounds in 4 days throwing up. It was terrible. Don't eat at Taco Bell. It's disgusting. Anyway, this one graded 90. This is one I got on eBay in an auction, and I probably paid too much for it for a retro collection. But it was a Mist card, factory Mist card with the Mandalorian on the Greef Karga card back. So that's cool. Whatever. It's nice. But then the rest of these, I don't know why I got them graded. It's such I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed in myself. It's too much. I don't need this stuff, So I probably need to sell these at some point. I don't know. If any of you collect these things, let me know. But anyway, it's this one graded 85 plus. This is the IG-11. This is probably the coolest one of the wave, other than maybe Cara Dune. But this one uses the IG-88 vintage Kenner style mold, adds some updated bandoliers, the original weapons that IG-88 had. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, that one graded 85 plus. I have noticed that Big Bad Toy Store collector grade are not what they used to be. They don't score nearly as high. And I don't know if they're just being less picky or what, but it does seem like they don't score nearly as high in grading. This one is, look how big this case is. This is so ridiculous. I mean, look at this. This is like, it's like 2 of the regular cases. Why did CAS make the case so big? I have no idea, but it's just gigantic. But this is the child. I actually like the card back a lot. He looks pretty cool there, but this, you know, this base and the pram and everything, it's just kind of goofy looking. I think the frog is overkill too. It's just kind of goofy. But this case is so big. This acrylic, I have to get rid of these guys. I don't have any room for these. Anyway, this one scored 90, 90, 90, 95. So there you go. I cannot believe how big that case is. That's just gigantic. Next up is Kuiil. I actually like Kuiil. And I've got right here in a case shell. Tom Hogan, remember, has got these case shells for sale. This one has the film on it. You know, these case shells come with like a film over top of it. So they're well protected and they don't get all scratched up. But anyway, I found this vintage collection Kuiil in the wild at a Target. So I'm going to make this a subscriber giveaway at some point. We've already got stuff going right now in subscriber giveaways, but anyway, you can see now how the retro collection version of Kuiil looks next to the vintage collection, and they're both great figures. I actually really like this one a lot. This is probably one of my favorites. Obviously the great card back. It's a different card back too than the vintage collection, which I just now noticed. So I learn something new every day. It's just crazy. But anyway, I am going to make this a giveaway, and make sure to, you know, go to the video description for all my videos to pick up the email for Tom Hogan's case shells. He's got great products. But anyway, here's the Kuiil in the retro collection. This graded 90. He's a pretty cool looking figure too. Next up, we got Moff Gideon. I like the fact that they went with vinyl capes. You know, instead of the cloth capes, it just gives that retro vibe to it. I like his face is kind of goofy looking. It doesn't really look like him to me, but the chest sculpt detail, the paint apps on that is really nice. Obviously, you know how I feel about the card back. It's too dark, but it looks like they included like a Luke Jedi saber and they just painted it gray, which is kind of cool. It almost looks like a it's not, but it looks like the TIE Fighter pilot's pistol, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, so that's actually a pretty nice one. I don't know, the goofiness factor of Moff Gideon's face is actually a plus. Also, I didn't show this, but this is the Mandalorian on the correct card back, and so you can see how that looks next to the Greef Kargalorian. That one graded 90, the Mandalorian, and then here's the Greef Karga. So when two action figures love each other very much, the Greef Karga and the Mandalorian create Greef Kargalorian. And so here's the Greef Karga. That's a pretty cool figure too. Again, I like the fact that they went with vinyl capes on it. That one graded 90. So I got 90s on all of them except for the IG 11. And then finally we got Cara Dune. Here is Cara Dune. I like the face sculpt on this one. I don't know. It's very reminiscent of Leia Bespin. It's kind of a Leia Bespin look to the face. Obviously, the actual figure sculpt of her body is bigger just because she's a bigger character. But that one graded 90 also. So anyway, that was pretty nice. But anyway, I just, you know, it's overkill. It's overkill, folks. I don't know why I have all this stuff, but that's what I did. And they are nice. I mean, they're pretty nice, but it's just, I think given my space constraints, these will probably need to get offloaded to somebody else that will appreciate them more. But I hope that you enjoyed looking at them. And if you have any questions, let me know. Do any of you actually collect graded retro collection? I would love to know that. Or am I alone? Am I alone in that craziness? Let me know. Thanks so much, and I'll be back soon.